Moses and the burning bush, when God speaks from fire, a reluctant shepherd, a holy flame, and a divine call. The desert was quiet, just wind, sand, and the slow rhythm of sheep hooves on rock. For Moses, this had become life. Gone were the days of Egyptian luxury, of palace walls and royal influence. Now, at 80 years old, he was a shepherd in Midian, watching over flocks that were not even his own. But on one otherwise unremarkable day, everything changed. A flame that did not burn out, Moses led the sheep to Horeb, the mountain of God. As he scanned the horizon, something caught his eye, a bush on fire, glowing with orange flame. But it didn't crackle, didn't blacken. It wasn't consumed. Curious, Moses drew closer. And then came the voice, "Moses, Moses." Exodus 3-4, he froze. "Here I am," he replied. Then the command, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you're standing is holy ground." This was no ordinary fire. This was God's presence, holy, burning, alive. "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, afraid to look. A mission revealed. God told Moses he had seen the suffering of his people in Egypt, heard their cries, and was ready to act. "So now, go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Exodus 3:10, the call was clear, the mission enormous. But Moses didn't leap into action. He hesitated, just as many of us might. Excuses and questions. Moses began to protest. 1. Who am I? Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? God responded not with a list of Moses' qualifications, but with this, "I will be with you." Moses' identity didn't matter as much as God's presence. 2. What if they ask who sent me? God answered, "I am who I am, ... Tell them, I am has sent me to you." A name full of mystery and eternity. Yahweh, the self-existent 1-3. What if they don't believe me? God gave Moses signs, a staff that turned into a snake, a hand that became leprous and then healed, water from the Nile that would turn to blood. These were not magic tricks, they were proofs of divine authority. 4. I am not eloquent. Moses worried about his speech. "I am slow of speech and tongue." God replied, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Now go. I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." 5. Please send someone else. Finally, Moses simply begged to be let off the hook. God became angry, but merciful. He allowed Moses' brother Aaron to go with him and speak on his behalf. The call confirmed. God did not back down. Moses, reluctant and flawed, was still God's chosen vessel. He left the mountain changed not in power, but in purpose. The same staff he used to guide sheep would soon be raised before Pharaoh. The same voice that trembled with doubt would soon declare, "Let my people go." Themes that burn like the bush. 1. Calling. God doesn't always call the equipped, he equips the called. Moses was in hiding, a fugitive, a shepherd, but God saw more. 2. Faith and reluctance. Moses doubted himself repeatedly, but God's answers were always rooted in who he is, not who Moses was. The journey of faith often begins with trembling steps. 3. God's presence. The fire in the bush did not consume it, just as God's call would not destroy Moses. Instead, his presence would sustain him, God's repeated promise, "I will be with you." Conclusion, when God calls from the fire. The story of Moses and the burning bush reminds us that the ordinary becomes holy when God steps in. A mountain becomes sacred ground, a stick becomes a staff of miracles. A fugitive becomes a liberator. God still calls, sometimes in quiet whispers, sometimes in blazing flames, and when he does, the only right answer is Moses' first one, "Here I am."